In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall continue to look into 1 Corinthians. Today is our last two classes, the last two classes for 1 Corinthians. And so far, I am at where I know most likely I would be from the beginning of lesson 1. So usually this is what I do. I just expect half. If there are 10 classes, I go to chapter 5. Since there are 12 classes, at least the goal I set for myself is chapter 6. So we are doing okay so far. And don't forget, we also touch upon chapter 15. So I have outdone myself. Very proud of myself. Okay. So and before the class begin, someone just have to come up to me and say, no review, huh? No review, huh? Don't do recap. Okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me. Yeah. Wasn't planning to. No, actually, I was planning to. Yeah, so no more review, no more recap. Let's just go straight to chapter 6. Begin from chapter 6, we are touching upon some controversial verses. In chapter 6, okay, you know what? Why don't we look at first, and then we will see why I say these are controversial verses. Chapter 6, verse 1. That dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unrighteous and not before the saint? Do you not know that the saint will judge the world? And if the world will be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matter? Do you not know that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertaining to this life? If then you have judgment concerning things pertaining to this life, do you appoint those who are least esteemed by the church to judge? I say this to your shame. Okay. Let's go to verse 7. Now, therefore, it is already an utter failure for you that you go to law against one another. Why do you not rather accept wrong? Why do you not rather let yourself be cheated? No, you yourself do wrong and cheat, and you do this thing to your brethren. Okay? Now, here, the Apostle Paul jumped topic. He jumped topic again. In chapter 5, he was talking about sexual immorality. He was talking about being puffed up and belittle or ignore God's requirement. But in chapter 6, now he jumped to another problem in the church, which is waging lawsuits between church members. Okay? So quite often, because of this verse, that we in the church, we always believe that you cannot sue each other. Okay? So because of this, Apostle Paul said, how can you sue? How can you sue one another in front of the people on earth? And at the same time, in verse 7, here says that, why do you not rather accept wrong? Okay? So the reason that these verses are controversial, because sometimes we might feel this is unfair. We might feel that, hey, if I have been taken advantage upon, why can't I protect myself? Okay? So someone wronged me, someone took advantage of me, but now the Bible only encouraging me to swallow it. Isn't that encouraging the evil, but oppress the victim? Okay, so sometimes people look at this verse and they feel very unfair. They feel very, they feel that the verse is actually encouraging the evildoer. Because you only, you tell, oh, no, do not sue them, even they are wrong. Yeah, just swallow it. Bear it, swallow it. Take the wrong, take the fault. So some people couldn't take that. They feel that there is no justice if we apply such a concept. Okay? This is not an easy concept to comprehend. This is not an easy concept to understand. And a lot of time, what Apostle Paul said that in here might be misinterpreted or misused. For the example, that I see that one church brother intentionally cheat on another brother over financial gain. And then he said to that brother, well, too bad, sue me. Oh, you cannot sue because Apostle Paul, you are not allowed to sue members. So can you, because in the church, not everyone is genuine. They are real good Christians, but they are also wolf in the skin of the sheep. Okay? It was mentioned in Galatians. They are those who creep in. They pretend that they are Christian, they are TJC member, but they might not be. Okay? Remember what we said this morning about the spies. The spies came and they pretend to be righteous. And they say, oh, good teacher. They pretend to be good. So, as we know that the church door is open. If you want, you can come in. We do not filter. Okay? We do not look at you and say, oh, no, you have criminal background. No, you are not coming in. We do not set a station to test your blood. Oh, there are some drug reaction. No, you are out. We are not doing that, and we are unable to do that. So basically, this is a public place that we open door, let people in. So we cannot really control the people in the church. And so there's a possibility that people in the church, they might be genuine, they might not be genuine. We do not know, and we cannot tell 100%. So then here, regarding to the lawsuit, again, as I say, this is controversial. Some people, they read this verse and they believe firmly that you should not sue one another. Members, you cannot sue members. They believe that if you have been taken advantage upon, then you just swallow it. Wipe your tear and swallow it for the sake of the church or for the sake of God. Okay? Some people believe in that. But I have to tell you, I personally disagreed. That's not my belief. Okay? That's not my belief. I do not believe that God will encourage the evildoer, but suppress the victim. I do not believe in that. So I will share with you my understanding, my concept, my understanding from these verses. You have to remember, this is the early church, which means that at that time, the interaction between people are limited. Okay? Maybe not so complicated like the generation today. So I believe when Apostle Paul, when he was talking about this, why do you bring your things in front of the judge outside? He was talking about interpersonal conflicts. Interpersonal conflicts. For example, you drive to church, and then you park in the parking lot. Someone, as they pull away from the parking lot, they happen to accidentally scratch your car. Okay? That's civil case. Civil case, then you know what? There are people for the civil case between you and I. There are people who will try to solve it between each other, between one another. Some might just say, don't worry. Yeah, thank God nobody gets hurt. Don't worry. I can deal with it myself and let go of the other person. You swallow the cost of repair, and you are willing to let go of the other person out of the love because it was not intentional. So I believe that this is more addressed to the social conflict. Okay? But of course, there are people who will go so far. Even in the church, you pull the car out and then you get scratched and you get so angry. Not only you create a drama in the church, you have your lawyer contact the other person, you demand an extremely hefty penalty, not penalty, you are asking extreme hefty repair costs. This is the one that Apostle Paul was rebuking. So when things happen, instead of trying to settle it, you try to take advantage of it. So Apostle Paul said, why are you doing that to your brother? Why are you doing that to your brother? Can you just not swallow it? Okay? Why do you have to sue them over such a manner? Can you not ask the church to help you? We are not saying you have to swallow all the repairment costs, it's not that. It's that you can have the church to help you find a balance. Knowing your situation, knowing the other person's situation, when the person pull out the car, it's just, accident happened. So when you have the church to help you settle in a way that both sides are able to afford, instead of bring the person to the court in front of others. Yeah, in the church, when he pulled out, he scratched my car. Now I want $50,000 for that. Because it's not only repair, it's also it lowered the value of my car for the future when I want to sell that 15 years from now. You are trying to rip the other person off when there's an opportunity. It becomes like what? Yeah. So this is when Apostle Paul was rebuking that you are seizing profit from your brother. Okay, yeah, it did damage in your car. Can you just live with it, deal with it, and take whatever the other person can afford? Genuinely, they try to, compensate you. Or, sometimes you just, you know what, don't worry, no big deal, we can fix this. All right. So you know what, this is, I think, again, I do not like people to take this all the way to anything that you cannot sue. You cannot engage in lawsuit. My personal opinion, I don't think that's what Apostle Paul mean? Let me tell you a few different scenarios why a conflict might occur among the members. Usually in the church, when we talk about lawsuits, usually, of course, it involves money. Most of the time, it involves money. And quite often, it involves what? Lending money. Lending money. The most, you know that the civil case that I mentioned about like how people accidentally scratch your car, usually the civil case that most of the time we are able to calmly handle it. But a lot of times it's about money, about borrowing, lending money. So in my belief or in my concept, again, this is just my interpretation. This is only my personal interpretation of this verse. So when it comes to conflict over money, you lend. Why is it purple? Purple is not allowed. Where in the world is the 黑色？我要那个写下去插不起来。Okay, let me try this one. Oh, okay, no, this one is fine. Let me see if it's easy to erase. Doable, okay? All right, so you know what? I think there are a few different scenarios. Again, I am only sharing with you my understanding, my concept. In terms of this part, you don't really need to accept 100%. It's just you can accept, you can take this and say, no lawsuit, period. If anyone wrong you, I swallow it. It's fine, it's your choice. But I think, my belief, there are a few scenarios. If I lend money to you, okay? There are a few scenarios. Number one, I lend money to you because you in great need. You really need it. You are desperate. You are running out of food. You are in desperate situation. I lend you because you are in extreme difficulty. You might promise to pay me back, but you cannot. Not you do not want to, but you are unable to. For this case, let's go to Proverbs chapter 19. Proverbs chapter 19. Eh? 怎么没有？ Okay, am I in the wrong? Hold up. Let me check. Hold on. Yeah, probably 19. Oh, 17, yes. Yeah. 老花现在都看不到 but I go like this. All right, chapter 19, verse 17. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17. He who has pity on the poor lends to the Lord, and he will pay back what he has given. Okay? You know that in the Bible, the concept is always you owe God, you owe God, you owe God. Okay? The whole entire Bible, the concept is always we are in debt. We owe God. This is the only place that tells you you can have God owe you. Okay? Instead of you owe God, this is the only place that tells you how can you become the, This is the only place that says that God will owe you, like God owe you something. Okay? And this is that. And here it says that if you lend it to the poor, to those who are really in need, make sure, really in need, really in need. For those who are really in need, you lend it to them. It says that you actually lend it to God, and God will pay back. So if the person unable, if this poor man unable to pay you back, you should let go, because it will be paid back by God. So this is concept number one. Scenario number one. When you are giving to the poor, whether it's lending or giving, do not expect you are able to. So you're like, you know what, I'm lending to you. When you are able, you can give it back to me. But whether you give it back or not, I'm okay with that. Okay, you don't say that, you don't say that out loud. But when you give, you lend, you give to those who are in need, but in your heart, you take it as, you take it as the money is gone. And you know that you will be paid back by God. But make sure that the key is someone who really in need. That's the key. Okay? And that get us to the next scenario. How about lend it to someone who is not really in need? If you go on to the next scenario, I lend money to someone, to you, who are not in need, but in want. Okay? For example, the person is buying a house, the person is opening a business, the person is making an investment. So he borrow money and you decide to lend money to the person. Now the story is totally different. Because why do you lend money to the person? It's not just because they are church member. There are other reasons. There are other reasons. So do not pretend. Do not pretend like, oh, I lent $10,000 to you just because you are a church member. I don't even know who you are. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe you will do that. I wouldn't do that. There are other information involved, such as you are relatives, you are very close friends, you hang out all the time, and you are interested in the project or the investment. Whatever it is more than just because the person is a church member. Let me ask you, if someone that you never met, if someone that you do not know, the only thing you know is, yeah, I think he is also a TJC member. And the person just come up to you and say, can you borrow me $45,000? Yeah, you would do it, right? Would you do that? I think if you do that, that only means that you are not very, yeah. See, there are other reasons. But when things goes wrong, then you blame on the church. You say, oh, I lent the money because he is a church member. I don't believe that. If you do not know him, he doesn't know you. You are just strangers. And the person, oh, is from TJC from somewhere far away. And say, oh, can you give me $50,000? Oh, sure, we are church members. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So I think the situation is more complicated. There are, first of all, other reasons. Second, think about it. When you do lending, have you ever asked the church? Did you go through the council? Did you ask the pastor? Did you get our endorsement? No, you did not. And when things go wrong, then you come back and say, church is responsible because he's a church member. You know, quite often this is the mentality, this is the situation, the scenario that we run into. You never ask the church, you never consult with the council. You jump into this, whatever the reason it is, and when things goes wrong, you think that the church is responsible for you. That's not fair. If we endorse it, you bring it to us, hey, you know what? This person is borrowing money from you, from me. Shall I do it? If you ask for our endorsement, then we are responsible. You never ask. And when things go south, then you say it's all church's fault. I'm not coming back to church. I don't know. For me, that's very unfair. Okay? So if you want, you go to church council, you go to the pastor, and they will tell you, oh no, we cannot. For this is not about needy, this is about want. We cannot endorse on anything like this. I want to open a store, I want to buy a house. I still need 30,000, 50,000, 100,000. Hey, church, can you back me up? No, we don't. We do not do that. Okay? Number 3. Now, it gets even further complicated. Right now it's lending, but then I joined money in investment. Okay? So usually in the church, these are the 3 scenarios that we found. I lended to those who are in dire need. Then, when you lend, please, in your mind, you consider as a gift. Just do not expect anything to come back. For the Lord will pay you for your mercy. Okay? This is the one that owes you. Okay? Not this one. They owe you. This one is the one that owes you. Okay? Number 2, if this is not about need, it's something extra, then you make that decision, you deal with it yourself. Because you never come to church for endorsement, then why are we responsible for your personal choice? It's not fair for the church. Like, you know. And number 3, this is definitely a no-no. Because this is no longer about lending or needy. This is about profit. Why would you give money in an investment? Why would you give? Because you want the profit. And they are, of course, they are always win or lose. When it comes to investment, they are always success and failure. They are always win and lose. So at this time, if you join, you put the money in another person, whether church member or not, that's not the point. Because this is called investment. Okay? If you invest, for whatever the reason it is, you invest, and it's your own liability. Whether you invest, you win money. You invest, you earn money. You don't bring it to us. You invest, you lose money. It's all church's fault. Not fair. The church doesn't get involved in your investment. You do not come to you. Oh no, but I joined this. I joined the project. I put $500,000 because I trust him. He's a church member. If you do that, the only thing I can say to you is that you are not very smart, and you are not very responsible. And if you are not smart enough, you fall into whatever it is. Whether it's a genuine business that lose money or a trap that take away your money. The original intention has nothing to do with God. Okay? You are not trying to help the poor. You are only trying to benefit yourself. Then why would God or why would the church be liable for your choice? Okay, so now having said that, let's look from the other side. Can you sue the person? Can you sue the person? From my, I studied business law in school, so for me, lawsuit is something very common. In this case, suing is not allowed. This is when Apostle Paul said, no, you cannot. Just like as the example, the civil conflict. The civil conflict. We try to handle it in a religious, in a godly way. Okay? Yeah. In fact, this poor and needy, he owed you money. So by law, legally, he owed you. But when you are spiritual and have someone spiritual involved, they will tell you the right thing to do. They will tell you, no, do not bring this to the court, for he has no way to help. He wants to, but he cannot. So may the Lord bless you for your mercy. Okay? So that's how the church handle situation like this. When it comes to this, okay, at the end of the day, it's a lending process. So if it's lending not in need but in want, or is an investment, when you do that, whether you lend or you join partnership, you have to understand that's your personal choice of location of your money. The church did not get involved at first place. The church should not be pulled in to become your tool to get your money back. So whether you sue the person or not, see, all this has nothing to do with whether the person is a church brother or not. This is not related to church. You lend not because he's a church brother. You join not because of he's a church brother. You do this because you have your own intention. Then it changed the whole concept. It changed the whole concept. Since this is only personal between you and the person, is the personal engagement between you two, so you solve it outside. If you go back to chapter 5, in verse 12, what have I to do with judging those who are outside? Okay? Remember, judging those who are outside. So if you run into, okay, now let's change the tone a little bit. You run into a bad guy, a bad member, who are, as we say, a wolf in the sheep skin. Okay? You run into a bad member who want to borrow you, not because of need, for whatever the reason you want to lend. Okay, again, we say all these are outside, outside. You run into a bad member. Okay, someone who deceives you, someone who cheats you, someone who takes your money away. So, in this scenario, in my opinion, after you talk to the person, after you consult with the person, after you are able to rightfully communicate and get what belongs to you, you can take whatever the action that legally allowed. Again, that means, yeah, if you want, you can wage the lawsuit. But don't get church involved, though. Do not get church involved. We are not there to backing you up for your business investment. Oh yeah, because of you, I lost money. You lost money because you are greedy. You want investment. You want to be part of the project. You listen and you believe that you can make 150% of return. It's not because you love the guy. It's not because you love God. So you have to You never join an investment because you love God. Okay? Oh, yeah, I just have to buy the stock because I love God so much. No. You do that because you want the return. There's nothing wrong with investment. But that's your personal choice. So you make that choice, you deal with the result. That's how a grown man should think. We make a choice, we bear the consequence. Okay? You cannot say, oh, I joined the investment, now I lost money. Oh, this is not right. I need to have the church to come and give my money back. That's not right. And if you so decide, you're going to sue the person. That's only between you and him. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with the church. Just like what Apostle Paul said, what has it to do with me? Judging outsider. This is outsider. Okay. So we need to be, well, again, you might not agree with this. This is fine with me. If you don't agree, that's fine with me. If you believe simply no lawsuit, I respect that. But if you come and ask for my advice, that you lend the money for another brother, another person to do business, and they cheat on you, they defraud you, they do this and that, and then you come, you want vengeance, you want I will just tell you, do what you need to do, sue him. But it has nothing to do with the church. Okay? As I say, if you never consult with the church at first place, we never endorse, then why are you holding us liable? Why? Again, just me. All right, so maybe different pastors, they might have different concept. Okay, so there is no absolute right or wrong in interpreting this particular verse. You can be very simple-minded and say, just bear it. God will repay you. But you have to remember, the repayment, according to the verse, the repayment is only when you give those who are in dire need. It's not related to business transaction. It's not related to investment. It's not related to, oh, this project, I can make $100,000. It only deals, God's mercy only deals with when you show sympathy to those that are in need. You do it out of love. You do it because God's love. You do it not expecting a repayment. Then the Bible says, don't worry, God sees it, God will repay you. That's how far it goes. Okay. All right. Next, in chapter 6. In chapter 6, it covers at least I touched chapter 6. Okay? Sorry, the reason that we spend so much time on this one is just because it's very controversial. Some young people, when they read this verse, they feel very unfair. Like, are we allowed bullies? Yeah, sue me if you dare. The Bible says you cannot sue. For those who are abusing the verse, if you come to me and ask for my opinion, I will say, well, you should grant his wish, sue him. But that's outside of the church. Remember in Matthew chapter 17, is it 17? That for those people who refuse to listen to the church, for those who refuse to abide by the teaching of the Bible says that treat them like outsider, like a Gentile. Even in name they are TJC member, you can treat them like a Gentile. Which means, if anyone maliciously, intentionally try to defraud you, then they are no longer your brother. You do not sue brother, but this person apparently not a brother. We call that evildoer. The Bible never say that you cannot sue an evildoer. Okay? But again, that's between you and the person. That's between you and the person. So we have one more class. We shall end at chapter 10. Yeah. So if you have time, because chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10 is only one concept. So if you have time, just quickly glance through it. Just quickly go through that few chapters, because we will not touch the detail. We will only touch one concept that was covered in all those chapters. Okay, let's all kneel down and pray. Before the announcement, there's one thing I would like to remind you. In here, I'm not encouraging lawsuits. In the Bible, it does tell you that vengeance belongs to God. Vengeance. So if you so decide to carry whatever the action, make sure that it's not out of hatred. You do not get. You are only going through a business process. Okay. So business is business. You are only go through a proper, like, if the company dissolve, you go through the lawyer to split whatever all those are just a social a process. You do not end up like, oh, I hate you, I wish you die. You don't get your because it goes through a totally different field. Okay, so I'm saying that you have the right, and your right is protected legally by the government. That you have the right to exercise, but do not allow that to become a hatred. Do not allow that to become a hatred that ruin you, or ruin your faith, or ruin your relationship with God. Okay? All right, Salina?